You know, Poppy Playtime has given us some of the most disturbing monsters in gaming history. Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, Catnap. But what if the most terrifying monster in the factory isn't one we see on screen? What if the most dangerous entity in Playtime Co. is actually you? That's right, what if our player character isn't just a former employee returning to find survivors, but the very architect behind the Hour of Joy? What if we were the one who set the prototype free and caused the slaughter of every employee in the factory? This would change everything we thought we knew about Poppy Playtime. Throughout the 4 chapters released so far, we've been piecing together what really happened at Playtime Co. The experiments, the children, the Hour of Joy, but there's always one question that never quite made sense. Why did we come back? Why would anyone return to this nightmare? This game tells us we received a mysterious package, a VHS tape inviting us back to find the flower. But is that really enough to make someone return to an abandoned factory where all their coworkers disappeared? No, there has to be something more. Something personal, something guilty. Let's look at the evidence. Throughout the game, we've been operating under the assumption that we're just an innocent employee who received a mysterious invitation to return. But the toys, they recognize us, not just as an employee, but as someone they have unfinished business with. Bubbafin specifically mentions remembering us, associated with screams. But what if those weren't the screams of tortured children? What if those were the screams of Playtime Co. staff being slaughtered during the Hour of Joy, a massacre that we helped orchestrate? And it's not just Bubba. Every toy we encounter tells us we shouldn't be here, that we shouldn't have come back. They're not surprised to see a human. They're shocked to see this human. Us, the betrayer. Think about it. In Chapter 1, Huggy Wuggy doesn't immediately attack. He watches, observes, like he's trying to confirm our identity before hunting us down. In Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs doesn't just want to kill us, she wants to punish us, make us play her twisted games first. The games aren't hunting us because we're an intruder, they're hunting us because we made a deal with the prototype and then abandoned them when the Hour of Joy actually happened. We set up the massacre and then didn't show up to witness it. And what does Ollie say to us in Chapter 3? You made your choice. That's a direct accusation about our involvement in setting up the Hour of Joy. I think our player character struck a deal with the prototype. We gave him the information or access needed to bypass security systems and escape. We helped coordinate the attack. We planted the seeds of destruction. But when the time came to witness our handiwork, we couldn't face what we'd done. And now, years later, we return, not to find survivors, not because we're curious, but because we need to atone for what we've done. This is why we keep pushing deeper into the factory despite all logic saying we should leave. In Chapter 4, when Dr. Sawyer confronts us, he asks us why we came back. He questions our motives because he was there when we made the deal with the prototype. He saw us betray the company, and now he can't understand why we'd return to the scene of our crime. But wait, you might be saying, if we were so important to the prototype's plans, why didn't he recognize us? Well, what if he does? What if all of this is a part of his game? The prototype helps us throughout our journey. He disguises himself as Ollie. He gives us directions. He unlocks pathways. Why would he do this for a random employee? He wouldn't. He's doing it because we're his old partner, his accomplice. He's leading us deeper into the factory, not to help us escape, but to make us face what we helped create, to show us the full extent of the horror we enabled, maybe even to finish what we started together. But there's another layer to this. What if Poppy isn't the innocent victim she claims to be? I don't think it's a coincidence that Poppy says she only heard the Hour of Joy. She doesn't appear in any footage of the massacre. We never see where she was during those terrible events. For all we know, she was working with the prototype too, or maybe the prototype was working for her all along. When we're attacked by Huggy, Mommy, and Catnap, Poppy conveniently isn't there. When we finally free her, she immediately starts manipulating us, directing us deeper into the factory, always with the promise of escape that never comes. Look at how quickly she adjusts her plans when we kill Mommy in Chapter 2. Look at how she diverts the train at the last moment, claiming we can't leave yet. Look at how she seems to know exactly where to go, what to do, as if all of this is predetermined. I think Poppy orchestrated the Hour of Joy using the prototype as her weapon, but something went wrong. The prototype realized he was being used and turned against her, locking her in that case where we find her in Chapter 1. Think about it. We know the prototype can mimic voices. We know he's intelligent, but would he really have the authority to command all the toys to kill? Or would they more likely follow orders from the very first toy ever created at Playtime Co., Poppy herself? And now the three characters in this sick game are back together. The puppet master Poppy, the weapon prototype, and us, the enabler who set it all in motion and then ran away. This explains why the prototype is initially helping us. He wants to free Poppy so he could have his revenge on both of us. It explains why Poppy is so insistent on killing the prototype, not because he's evil, but because he knows her secret. Think about Kissy Missy too. We know she's passive, unwilling to hurt humans, but she participated in the Hour of Joy. Why? Because someone she trusted told her to, Poppy. Kissy follows Poppy devotedly through chapter 4, never questioning her motives. She's been manipulated just like we have. The safe haven in chapter 4 isn't just a literal safe place in the game, it's symbolic. It represents the lie Poppy has created, the false narrative that she's our ally against the prototype. But notice how quickly that haven is destroyed, how thoroughly the truth is buried. Even more telling is what happens in chapter 3. Poppy diverts the train, preventing our escape. She needs us to stay. Not to help her, but because she can't risk us telling the outside world what really happened. Let's look at all the red smoke too. Catnap can produce it naturally, but the factory had an entire gas production zone dedicated to mass producing it. Why? Because Poppy needed it. It's her weapon, her tool for controlling the other toys and maintaining her power. So as our player character ventures deeper into Poppy Playtime Co., we're not just solving puzzles and running from monsters. We're confronting our past, our sins, our complicity in creating this nightmare. Every toy we encounter, every monster that hunts us, they're not just random enemies. They're reflections of our guilt, manifestations of our betrayal. What about the children? The orphans experimented on to create the monster. Doughy in chapter 4 was made from 3 children fused together. Mommy Longlegs was once Mary Payne. Yarnaby was Quinn Davidson. Did we know about them too? Did we help select the children that would become monsters? Remember in chapter 3 when Poppy asked us how much we know about the experiments on the children. She's not just asking for information, she's testing us, trying to determine if we'll admit our role in it all. This explains so much about the game's structure, why we're constantly pushing forward instead of trying to escape, why we feel compelled to collect those VHS tapes that reveal the factory's secrets. We already know what they contain. We're just gathering evidence of our crimes. And the grab pack, that special backpack with the extendable hands, why do we know how to use it so? Because we weren't just an employee. We were involved in its development. We knew exactly where to find it because we helped create it. When we pull that final lever, push that last button, confront the prototype or Poppy face to face, we're not just finishing the game. We're confronting the horrific truth that helped us create all of this suffering. The real horror of Poppy Playtime isn't the monsters. It isn't even the experimentation on children. It's the realization that ordinary people like us, can become complicit in terrible things. That we can convince ourselves we're just doing our jobs while enabling horror. And maybe that's the true message of the game, that monsters aren't born. They're made by companies like Playtime Co., by people like Poppy in the prototype, and by people like us who look the other way until it's too late. So the next time you're playing Poppy Playtime, remember, you're not just playing as a survivor. You're playing as someone with blood on their hands, someone with a dark past, someone seeking redemption in the very hell that they helped create. But hey, that's just a theory. Do you think that the player is the real villain of Poppy Playtime? Or is this all a part of Poppy's manipulation? Did we help create the Hour of Joy, or are we truly an innocent caught in the crossfire? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to join our Discord, The Sanctum, for more theories like this.